I'm Lauren Whitehurst. I'm a certified personal trainer and certified nutrition coach.
Hi, I'm Sunny Lippincott. I'm a certified professional life coach and a certified brain health professional.
We also have Angela Salyers, who is a licensed professional counselor, and the three of us together make up
Whole Life Vitality.
We teach whole life vitality of the mind, body, and soul, bringing the physical, emotional, and spiritual together for whole life wellness. Welcome back, friends.
Welcome back.
Okay, so we've been in a funk. It's been funky over here lately. Let me tell you, funky.
It has been. Anyone else? Show of hands. How have you been this holiday season?
Yeah, and I feel like it hasn't even just been like December. It's been like the entire holiday season.
The entire holiday season.
Yeah.
Like starting in, listen, I love the holidays. I love them.
Generally, I'm like the first one to bust out all my holiday stuff, to set it all up, to get super excited about it. Like right as soon as Thanksgiving is done, like the day it's done, then I'm setting everything up. I'm playing the Christmas movies. I'm turning on the Christmas music.
Yeah.
I'm doing all the things. And this year, it was like pulling teeth.
Yeah.
To set it up, to do anything with it.
It's, listen, we get real here, this
Yeah.
podcast. If you don't like realism, this is not the one for you.
Yeah.
So Lauren had to actually come over and help me decorate my tree because that mug sat there in front of the window with just lights on it for a good week. And the ornaments and the bucket is just sitting there. And I just had no desire.
Yeah.
Like I just could not bring myself to do it.
I feel like it's beyond desire at that point because it's almost like you look at it and the thought of doing it is like the heaviest weight
It's
you can
so
possibly
heavy.
imagine.
Yes.
Just the thought of picking something up and making it happen. And as we were talking, because, I'm dealing with the same thing, then I was telling Sunny, Mel Robbins talks about her 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yes.
Go. And the reason why you count down is because if you count up, if you've ever, for toddler, you're like, do as I say, I'm going to count to 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, now you're in trouble. Like,
Yes.
Where does it stop?
Right.
When you're counting up, then you just go on indefinitely, right?
Yeah.
When you're counting down, you hit that point where you have to move.
Right.
So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, do something. Whatever that something might be. So it's 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get your booty up off the chair.
Yes.
Or walk over to the tree, or set something on the tree, or hit purchase on your Amazon cart, or whatever it might be that you're just dreading doing, that you have to do. It has to get done. You just do it.
You just do it.
Because as we've said to each other so many times this season, we are not how we feel.
Yes. Things are better than they feel.
Always. They
Things
always
are better than they feel. And that's been the motto for me in the last few weeks. I feel like it's even coming across right now. Like you can hear it in my voice. There's just, it's not that excitement that I usually have, that lightness. It's sitting there.
Yeah.
And we don't talk about that enough, especially in Christendom, that we have these seasons. Even having relationships with, Jesus Christ, we have these seasons because we are humans.
Yeah.
And you can read the Bible and see that it happened so often, even in the Bible, that there were ups and downs in their walks, and they struggled. And they sometimes, even David, you can read in the Psalms, there are singing and rejoicing, and then there is lamentations in those Psalms. And it's so normal to have these, but it makes people uncomfortable.
Well, because we all want to just be happy all the time.
We all just want to be happy.
And it's not even that necessarily something bad happened that left you feeling particularly awful. It could just be a slump.
Yes.
And it became so normal to have these slumps seasonally that they actually came up with a word for it called SAD, Seasonal Affective Disorder. And they
Aptly named.
Yeah, I know. Not to be confused with the standard American diet.
Yeah.
But seasonal affective disorder, because you are affected during this particular time of year. And there are so many reasons why you are, but a lot of them have to do with how much time you spend indoors,
Right.
how you're treating your body,
Right.
the things you're surrounding yourselves with. And so we just wanted to talk a little bit today about those particular things, how they're affecting us, how they're probably affecting you, and what you can do about it. Because I'm kind of tired of feeling this way.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole like get in the car, a song comes on the radio and you start to well up, you just start to cry for what feels like no reason. And I'm like, why? I just want to be happy again.
Right. And the alarm goes off, and it's, for me, as someone who has had a morning routine since 2017, that's just what I do. I get up in the morning, and for me, it's just instantaneous, like, brushing my teeth.
You just do it.
And having breakfast. But even that has been a chore.
Yeah.
Lately, where there was one day particularly that I remember the alarm went off, and it felt like I had a weighted blanket on top of me. Like it was just so difficult to will myself to get out of bed. And I remember I just started crying.
Yeah.
Like I just started crying because that heaviness was there. And even when I did get up, I only did what I could do.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this feels awful.
And the reason why you were able to do what you could do is because you already had that set in place. Think of how much harder it would have been if you hadn't already created that habit.
Yeah.
If you hadn't been doing that since 2017 and you woke up and you felt that heavy weight on you and you were like, well, I guess this is where I live today.
Yeah.
This is my life now. This is how it ends.
Me or
I'll just sit here in the dark, and
it's okay.
And isn't that what we say when people are like, well, how are you? What can I do for you? You look like you're struggling. Can I help you? You're like, it's fine.
I'm good.
I'm okay.
I'm good. I'll be fine.
I'm okay. Somebody actually up at the school, our kids go to the same school, and I went up there last week to go take something to a child that had forgotten something. And one of the women in the office looks at me and she goes, are you okay? And so many thoughts went through my mind in that moment. And I was like, all of the knee-jerk reactions that I could say to her.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm fine. Everything's great. Merry Christmas. Aren't you so happy? And I looked at her and I thought for a second and I go, you know what? I'm just super depressed.
Yeah.
And I think it kind of surprised her a little bit. But it almost felt good to say it out loud. Yes. Because I was acknowledging the elephant in the room.
Absolutely.
And it has to be apparent to other people beyond myself because I'm not being myself, my normal self. I am being a very low Eeyore type version of my normal self.
And the thing is, it's not, that person wasn't like a cashier at Publix.
No.
That you're just letting, this was like, this was someone that knows you, that you see, that, you're in fellowship with.
Well, and I would consider her a friend.
Yes,
we've hung out before. I do consider her a friend. We just don't hang out all the time.
Yeah.
But even just the little bit of interactions that we've had, she's noticed that I've been lower lately or that she hasn't seen me as much lately.
Right. And so that's the key too.
Yeah.
It's, sharing and willing to be open and vulnerable with those that, that know you, that you have rapport with, that you have a relationship with, that you feel like you can fellowship with. Because what it does is it also gives them permission to feel that they can be real and honest. And wow, okay, this person struggles too. You almost see a relief in them, not that they're happy that you're struggling, but that you are normal.
Yeah.
You're giving them permission to be normal too, because these are normal human emotions that we don't talk about and we don't share with one another because they're deemed especially when you use a word like depression, it takes you back to, suicide, you know, and those types of things. And it doesn't have to be that heavy.
Right.
It's a valley, you know, you're in a valley right now.
And just because you feel low and you don't feel like harming yourself doesn't mean you're not depressed.
Right.
You know,
depression takes on a lot of faces.
If you have a hard time just functioning, doing your everyday normal tasks, things that a month ago or 2 months ago or a week ago felt normal and regular and natural for you, and now they don't, that could be depression.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, I feel like we could sit here and tell stories all day long about what's going on, but I just want to talk to you a little bit about ways to combat that seasonal depression, because we all want to be able to do something to feel better.
Right.
You know,
and there is something.
Exactly. So, omega fatty acids. Let's talk about the brain, my friend.
Let's talk about the brain.
My brain health friend right here, because omegas support the brain.
Yes.
The brain that has all of those amazing neurotransmitters that leave us feeling good. And if we're not supporting our brains, we don't feel good.
Right.
So you can get those omega fatty acids from salmon, which I don't know about you, but I feel like I don't eat as much fish in the winter.
Yeah, I don't either.
And so if you think about just how your diet naturally shifts seasonally.
Right.
And think about how maybe you were supporting yourself during the summer with those omegas and the fatty fish that you were eating, and maybe you're not anymore. And maybe you don't love fish. I don't know. But you can also get them from mackerel, which is, yes, another fish, but walnuts or flax seeds.
Oh.
Walnuts, they look like a brain.
Yeah, they do look like a brain.
I don't
that helps
think
you remember.
That was an accident.
I don't think so either.
I think that when God made walnuts, he was like, this will be fun.
Yeah.
Let's see if they can figure it out. Let's see if they get this one. And flax seeds. So flax seeds, you can buy ground flax seed, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would get whole flax seeds and then grind them when you're going to use them, because otherwise the nutrients in the ground flax seeds they're going to decrease.
All right.
Before you can eat them. So get them whole, stick them in a little coffee grinder, do a little buzz, and then toss them in your smoothies, or add them to your baked goods, or put it on top of your cereal, or whatever. You know, they don't taste like much, but they really add a lot of value to your health and your brain. It's so simple, right? Okay. This is a really big one. Sunlight exposure. Sunlight exposure. And
man,
I feel like this is easy for us to say because we live in the South.
Yeah.
And we do get a fair amount of sunshine even in the winter months here. And so there are other areas of the world that I know that you just don't get as much sunshine. And when you don't have sunshine, they make these little light boxes that you can get that have the blue light, that have the infrared light, that you can just get and set in your kitchen or living room and sit in front of it and have your cup of coffee in front of that light box. And you'll get so many of the same benefits.
Well, even being here in the South, the problem is the warmth makes us
pansies.
So even being it's 41 right now.
It's cold.
We're not going outside. Now 41 to my family members in, up north, they would be fine with this, not us. So we have to have like 70s to want to be outside. So even here where the sun is out, we don't utilize it in the winter because we're cold.
I have a good friend whose family is in Minnesota, and she said they're having an unseasonably warm winter. And I said, really? And she said, yes, it's only 30 degrees there right now.
Okay.
And I was like, unseasonably warm here is like 85.
That's absurd. But
she said it's not even below zero yet.
What is fascinating is you can look at animals. Animals have figured out so many things that humans just don't get. But my cat follows the sun all day within the house. She will stretch out, in the living room, then she moves to the breakfast room. And then, so it just so on and so forth. But we don't realize even that, how helpful that is.
Yep.
So I have my chair situated in the morning where that sunlight in the morning, if I will just get my body to the chair and have my coffee and my devotion, the sun is coming through the window and hitting the chair. And even that has huge mental benefits.
Yep. So the sun exposure first thing in the morning, it's not as harsh, but it does have more blue light to it, which you need to wake up.
Yes.
And having that blue light actually helps your circadian rhythms.
Yes.
Your circadian rhythms are your sleep-wake cycle, right? So first thing in the morning, it regulates your cortisol. Your cortisol is your stress hormone.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they've done studies on morning sun, and they said that it actually has been shown to decrease belly fat because it regulates your cortisol.
And lower stress. The morning sun.
Yep. So you actually get a little boost of cortisol from it in the morning when you first experience it, because that helps you wake up and feel alert. But because you have that boost, it also helps regulate your cortisol levels over the course of the day so that you're not as stressed and you don't need as much coffee, which is so nice because you had that first thing awake right there in the morning. It helps you with your melatonin levels because it helps to suppress the melatonin in the morning.
Yeah. Melatonin is what tells you that you're sleepy.
It's time to sleep.
It's it's like the announcer at a race says, okay, on your mark, get set, go. Melatonin is what tells you, hey, it's time for bed. It doesn't actually make you go to sleep.
Or keep you asleep.
It tells you that it's time to sleep.
And in the morning, the sun helps your body reduce those melatonin levels so that you're not left drowsy and lethargic all day, which I don't know. I feel like that is a normal occurrence for most people. I had someone come to me the other day and I said, how are you? And she goes, I'm tired. I'm just always tired. And I was like, let's get you some sunshine, girl.
Yeah,
let's get you some sunshine. All right. Morning sun stimulates the synthesis of serotonin. It's our happy hormone.
That's our happy hormone.
And everybody needs more serotonin, truly.
Telling you what.
The standard American diet affects our serotonin levels.
Yeah.
Because 90% of our serotonin is made in our gut. And when we disrupt the way our guts work with the standard American diet, then we reduce our serotonin levels and then we feel depressed. Then we feel sad. So let's get some morning sunshine so we can get some more serotonin. It raises our insulin sensitivity, which means that our bodies are more sensitive to our needs as far as regulating our glucose and our insulin levels. So it can actually lead you not having as many sweet cravings.
Yep. Which, let's be honest, that's your go-to when you're depressed. It's like, let's eat the
Instant
donuts
gratification.
and let's just throw caution to the wind. Who cares anymore?
Let's see how quickly I can make myself feel better and then feel awful again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crash.
Morning sun also influences your leptin and ghrelin levels. And those are your satisfied and or hunger hormones.
Oh.
So it reduces your hunger hormones and increases your feelings of satiety.
Wow.
Just from being in the morning sun.
The sun.
Sun. Yeah.
That's amazing.
It is truly, truly amazing. I won't come for your coffee, but I will tell you all those amazing benefits that we just talked about. Having your morning cup of coffee instead of sitting in the sun does basically the opposite of everything we just talked about. So it's something to consider that if you are a serious coffee drinker, maybe consider having a cup of tea and sitting in the sun first and see how you feel.
Yeah.
Because all of those hormones will be disrupted. They will not work as well. You will not feel as good if you have your coffee. Your coffee takes your baseline where it is and it gives you a peak, right? Everybody loves that peak. That's why we drink coffee, right?
Yeah.
Loves that peak. And then you come back down. Well, next time your baseline has changed. So your baseline lowers. So when you get to that peak was your old baseline. And so then it lowers. And then your peak is your old baseline and it lowers and it lowers and it lowers and it lowers until you have to have that peak just to feel normal. What you don't realize is that normal is give yourself 2 weeks with no coffee and that peak will be your normal.
Wow.
It'll balance right back out.
I was reading a book by Dr. Amen, and he was saying that Starbucks Starbucks was serving the most calories of any fast food restaurant. And he said what was happening, you have your daily amount of caloric intake, but he said Americans are drinking theirs in these coffees that we're having. He said sometimes, a 2,000 calorie Starbucks drink that you're having at 8 a.m. Starting your day with. I can't even fathom that.
I have a friend who used to work for Starbucks, and she said that people would come through and they would get their venti, whatever, frappuccinos or lattes or whatever, first thing in the morning, and then come back through. Same people would come back through at around 2 o'clock, and they would do it again. So you're looking at anywhere between 3,000 and 5,000 calories a day just in consuming that.
I'm telling you, I'm 40. If I was to consume that first thing in the morning, of whipped cream, extra shot, venti latte, I would be sick.
Because you have a different baseline.
Ooh.
But if your body is so smart, it can adapt to anything. Truly. Like, our bodies are brilliant. God made our bodies designed to be extremely adaptive. Right? Which is super awesome. So that when we start consuming something on the regular, like coffee, like those giant frappuccinos, then our bodies say, okay, well, you know what? That's all right. I can protect myself here. I'll give myself a little more insulin first thing in the morning. I'll make sure that I lower my energy levels first thing in the morning so I can handle the extra sugar and caffeine and everything that I'm going to put in. And then I'll get really good at storing this extra in my fat tissue so that it doesn't hurt my organs. So thank you, body, for being so cautious with my vital organs and keeping me alive. I really appreciate that. However, I'm not really interested in storing a whole frappuccino every single day on my hips or butt or thighs or stomach.
Really not.
That doesn't sound like fun to me.
No.
All right. Movement. Movement leaves us feeling better. First thing in the morning, that sunshine. We already talked about it. Let's just combine the two. Let's get all of those feel-good hormones from the sunshine that we talked about, and then let's add in some endorphins. And let's just come back and talk about our friend Elle Woods. Because she told us endorphins make you happy. And happy people, they just don't kill their husbands.
They don't kill their husbands.
They just don't. They don't do that. So get outside first thing in the morning, take your 15-minute walk, because really for the sunshine, you need about 15 to 30 minutes. Go on the low side. Take a 15-minute walk. You got your movement in, you got your sunshine in. Double whammy, you're feeling great. And you're feeling so much better.
Like Mel Robbins said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 it. Just say, okay, I'm going to put my shoes on. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
And the shoes, putting the shoes on and taking that step out the door is truly the hardest part.
Absolutely.
If you just do that, your momentum will keep you moving, because then it's just one foot in front of the other, and you are proficient at that. I know you are.
And let me tell you something that has helped me, and I shared this with Lauren here recently, is it's easy to get down on yourself when you're in this valley and you're like, okay, I'm going to walk every day this week. Stop doing that. It's day one. So I have quit saying I just say, all right, today I'm going to walk today. I'm going to give myself a 15-minute walk today, day one. That's what I've been doing since I've been in this valley and working myself through it. And even with my meditation, I'm going to do a meditation today. And I've quit saying I'm going to do it for a month, and I'm not doing that to myself, because it's just another reason to get down on myself if it doesn't look a certain way. So I've stopped doing that and saying, today, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this today.
And when you make that decision every single day, because the only thing you have control over is your present moment. Let's be fair. The past already happened. The future hasn't happened yet. You are present right now. You get to control what happens right now, and that is all.
Absolutely.
So in this present moment, I'm going to choose to go for a walk. And every time you make that choice, day after day, it builds up. So at this point, I am over 900 days into doing yoga every single day. And I've had so many people say, oh my gosh, wow, how did you do that? And I said, I just didn't stop.
Yeah.
I just made the choice
Every day.
Every day I made the choice. Oh, yep. You know what? I'm going to do that again today.
Because had you had started and said to yourself, I'm going to make 1,000-day streak for yoga. Would you be sitting here right now telling us about your streak?
Even you saying that kind of makes me nauseated.
Right.
And I'm really close to it.
Right. It's too much.
It's too much.
But for you to say, today, I'm going to make the space to do yoga at some point, whether it's a 5-minute stretch or a 25-minute flow, I'm going to do it today.
And my minimum is 5 minutes. Yeah. And not to toot yoga's horn, but I will toot because yoga has actually been proven to reduce depression and anxiety.
Yes, it has.
So depression and anxiety, and I truly believe one of the main reasons why it does that is because in yoga, you have to be present.
Right.
And depression exists in the past and anxiety exists in the future. You know, we are either concerned about the past or concerned about the future. And in yoga, you have to be in the present. Yeah. And in the present, depression and anxiety don't exist.
Right.
When you are just here, when you are just in your body, moving your body, you just feel good.
Yes.
All right. So get moving. Get social. Find a friend, find somebody to talk to. If you are going for that walk in the morning, maybe go knock on a neighbor's door and say, hey, I've seen you out for a walk. You want to go with me?
Yeah.
Because we feel better when we have community.
Yeah. Check in with your friend. Put your headphones on. Mm-hmm. Call your friend as you're walking and say, hey, I'm just checking in. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You can send us a message. We will totally chat with you.
Yes, absolutely. Even Lauren, when that person asked how she was doing, answering her friend honestly, that's social. That's being social. Because what that depression will tell you to do is to internalize. Yep. Go internal. Hide. Don't share. Mm-hmm. People won't understand. They're not going to, they're this, they're that. They won't get it. So
they'll judge me.
Mm-hmm. I don't feel like pretending today. I'm just going to, it's too people-y out there, all of these things. But what you're actually needing is to talk and to share that burden and we're, like we said before, fellowship. We need fellowship. It's so vitally important. We are relational beings created by a relational God. We need relationship.
Yeah. So when it comes to being relational, have you ever heard about the benefits of a hug?
Yes.
Of a 30-second hug?
Yes. I just recently read about this.
Okay. All right. So I wrote it all down so I would get it right because I knew that hugs are powerful, right? And okay, so maybe you don't have somebody readily available to hug all the time. But have you ever seen the people with the signs on the street? They're like, free hugs. Yeah. And I was like, it seems silly until you think about maybe somebody who lives alone and works at home and they go to the grocery store or maybe they go to work and you get there and who are you going to hug at work?
Right.
I mean, HR is going to be all up on you if you go around hugging people at work. I'm just saying, maybe not every work. I mean, a yoga studio could probably get away with it, but most office spaces, not so much. So think about who you have in your life. And if you don't have someone who you're close enough to hug, then maybe it's time to start branching out a little bit.
Yes.
But, all right. A 30-second hug triggers a cascade of reactions in the body. You ready for this? Oxytocin, the love hormone.
Yes.
The bonding hormone.
The bonding.
It is what your body is flooded with right after birth.
Yes.
It leaves you disregarding all of the discomfort that you just went through and thinking, maybe someday I will have another child. Hey, girl, you did it 3 times.
I did it 3 times.
Come on. You know, all those love hormones.
Yeah.
They make you forget.
Yes. I can still hug them and get that.
Serotonin, your happy hormone that we've already talked about, also wonderful for mood stabilization. Dopamine. We have talked about dopamine so much here on this podcast because, with ADD, our brains are like, more dopamine. Yeah. But dopamine, it is your reward and pleasure hormones. So if you do something once and you get dopamine from it, then your body's like, yes, please and thank you. Can I have some more?
Please, sir, can I have some more?
Please, sir. Yes, exactly. Endorphins, also known as your painkiller and mood elevator hormone. Painkiller.
Mood elevator.
Yeah. So your depression often comes with some sort of physical discomfort as well, right? Either your body begins to ache or your head hurts, and I think part of that is because we slump.
Yep.
When we get depressed.
We lie down a lot.
Yeah, we're not holding our bodies in a way that leaves us feeling good. And so giving someone a hug, just holding it for that 30 seconds, and you can start to feel the pain begin to reduce. Cortisol reduction, your stress hormones go down, which is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm all about less stress.
That
sounds really, really great. All right. Blood pressure regulation. It will if your blood pressure is high, it will decrease your blood pressure.
That's pretty amazing, because I will tell you right now, especially in the US, man, high blood pressure, it's a epidemic.
Can we come back to the standard American diet?
Oh, right.
I'm just saying, it's all related.
All related.
What we put in, how we fuel our bodies is what our bodies become. Improved immune function. It reduces stress and increases your well-being, which helps you fight illness, because a positive outlook leads to a healthier body.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know, right? Think about how many people have been getting sick lately. And I think that's part of the low point, honestly.
Yeah. I just got over it. Oh, it was awful.
But those feelings of depression that come from extended illness as well.
Yes.
Just hug somebody. Maybe somebody who also shares the same germs as you. All right. And improved heart rate variability.
Okay.
Which is your HRV. It's an indicator of the body's ability to adapt to stress. Higher HRV is associated with better cardiovascular health and resilience to stress.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And all of that comes from a 30-second hug.
I mean, really?
Just
I'm not even asking you to take a walk. I'm telling you to hug somebody.
For 30 seconds.
For 30 seconds.
A child, an animal, if you have a dog or a cat.
Yes, that works
hug
too.
An animal, a spouse, a friend, a child. Truly, like if it breathes, if it has a heartbeat, just hug it. Hug it. You'll feel better.
That's beautiful.
I know. Isn't that amazing? All right. I promise we're almost done. But truly, these are all so important to think about when it comes to getting yourself feeling emotionally better. Hydration.
Yeah.
And we're going to come back to the brain, because dehydration, even as low as 2% dehydration, affects your mood, your perception of difficulty, and your ability to complete tasks.
Wow.
So perception is reality. Mm-hmm. And if it affects 2% dehydration, affects your perception of your reality, then you've just changed your world.
That's
by being dehydrated. Grab a glass of water.
And we're all dehydrated.
We are, especially this time of year.
Especially
when it gets cold outside, my water consumption goes down.
Mine too.
Because I'm not as thirsty, because it's not hot.
It's not hot. Mm-hmm. And I'm moving slower and just, okay.
Yep. Mindfulness, meditation, and routine.
Yeah. Which I feel like, we touched on that earlier. It's so vitally important that you get in a routine, because like you said, had I not had that established, getting out and even doing something would be so difficult. So day one, make this your day one.
We have a whole podcast on morning routine. If you haven't listened to that one yet, head on back over there and listen to that one, because it's really important to get yourself started on that path. It will really lead you feeling better long term.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
And then adding in, I think we talked about mindfulness and meditation in that podcast, or we've talked about it before.
We've talked about it, yeah.
So just go back and listen to the podcast. And then the very last one that I wanted to talk about is sleep. And we have, again, a whole podcast.
We do have a whole podcast on sleep.
But I do want to touch on it just really quickly because we talked about the circadian rhythm and the way that it helps balance our sleep-wake cycle. But that cycle is so important because it tells your body that when it's time for bed, then it'll start to produce the melatonin, right? Mm-hmm. And you'll start to feel sleepy.
Right.
And then everything else that happens over the course of the night is timed accordingly. Mm-hmm. So if that circadian rhythm is not balanced, then you're not going to produce all of your hormones over the course of the evening. And I'm just going to tell you what those are real fast. So your melatonin, which we talked about, helps you get to sleep. Your growth hormone, which is tissue repair. Right. If you're a growing human still, then a child, then you really need that to be able to grow big and strong, right? We tell our kids, eat your vegetables and get lots of sleep so you can grow up big and strong. But as an adult, we want to repair the tissues that we have broken down. It gives our bodies chances to heal. Your cortisol, like we talked about, your prolactin, which is your immune function, your insulin and glucose, which again helps regulate your blood sugars. And I don't know about you, but I have no intention of becoming diabetic. So I like to keep those regulated. Mm-mm. And your hormones, your sex hormones, including your testosterone. So your body gives you kind of a drip of testosterone over the course of a good night's sleep. And that is for men and women. Mm-hmm. Women who have low testosterone have extremely low libido, and men as well. They, you don't have as much energy. You just don't feel as good. That across the board. And so you want to regulate your female sex hormones like your progesterone and your estrogen. You also need to have balanced testosterone, or you will not be able to regulate all of your hormones.
Wow.
Those all go together. It's very important. So if you haven't gotten that balance in your circadian rhythm, then those hormones that you produce at night are not going to be appropriately timed. You're not going to be even getting sleep at night. You're not going to get the release of all of those hormones. Mm-hmm. So lots of information today.
Lots of really great information. Sleep and hugs and movement and sun. Mm-hmm. And what's so fascinating is it's nothing that was said is something that you need to go out and buy.
Right.
Or
none of it's going to break the bank.
Yes. And that you need a whole lot of time or, mm-hmm. I mean, truly it's just, things that we're, and for us as well, we're already at home.
Yeah.
Sit in the sun.
Well, it's just one of those things where if it's easy to do, it's just as easy to not do.
Yes.
And so what we talked about today, like you said, sitting in the sun, waking up at a regular time.
Right. Going to bed at a regular time.
Right. Which we talk about in our sleep podcast.
Drinking water.
Drinking water.
Water's free.
Just you pay for it anyway.
Faucet on. Utilize it. Utilize your utilities mm-hmm. that you're already paying for. Yep. And hugging those that you're cohabitating with. Yep. I mean, these are all...
And I think...
These are all great.
I can't speak for every single person in the world, but I think everyone that I know, if they live alone, they generally have an animal or close friends.
Right.
I don't think I actually know anyone who is completely cut off. It doesn't have close connections with anyone. Person or any, animal.
Right.
So I truly believe that there is someone out there that you could hug.
Yeah. And if you don't, contact us because
let's talk.
That's a lot of the problem.
Yes. Yeah. That will help you getting social and you will start to feel better. So we do these things. We don't do them every day. We are not perfect. We get depressed. We have low points. We have days where I message Sunny and I'm like, I don't really want to do the work today. Yes. I don't really want to do the work today. I don't really want to do the work today.
Yes.
Yeah. And we talk about it. And sometimes we laugh about it and sometimes we cry about it.
And sometimes she brings chocolate over to the house and she helps me decorate my tree and we forego the work and we just sit and we just talk. And I need that. sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's so vitally important for you to be open and honest about how you're feeling and to not shame yourself, because there's no shame in your feelings. Your feelings matter. They matter greatly, and you do not need to feel guilt over them. That's not going to make it better.
Yeah. If there's anyone in your life that's shaming you for feeling bad, that's leaving you feeling bad for feeling bad, then maybe go back and watch our friendships and boundaries podcast on what a healthy friendship looks like.
And reach out. Let us know if you're, and I was sharing this with Lauren, if your December is not Decembering like other Decembers have Decembered, reach out to us. We understand. Yep. We've been there. Yep. We have experienced sad.
Yep.
Okay. And let's day one together. All right.
We're just gonna day one.
Let's day one together.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
Day one all over this place. Thank you for hanging out with us today.
All right.
I hope that your December is being a little bit more December-y than our December.
Yeah. Get some sun.
That's right. We'll see you next time.
Bye.